What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/FatPeopleStories. Last time, we read Bert and Ernie and the Three Tubby Trolls, a rock opera? Part 1. This time, we're reading a story called Bert and Ernie and the Three Tubby Trolls, Free Stuff! Part 2. It's the grabby greediness in this incident that really cemented the Tubby Trolls' status as ham planets for me. I used to be fat, and Bert himself is quite the chubby little bunny, but the trolls, they're just pushy, greedy pigs who shove people out of the way and are never satisfied. A relevant note about shirts. When bands sell shirts, they have to order a minimum print run per design and size, usually a gross, and pay up front. This is why smaller, lower budget bands only have 1 or 2 options and a limited range of sizes. Huge sizes are not always offered by the printing company, and they cost more and take up extra shipping weights and cost and space in boxes. And if you pass the extra cost to the customer, you get accused of being fat-phobic. Bands love to pay up front for a size maybe 10 people will buy. Sarcasm. Sauce. I used to sling cotton for bands. Bert and Ernie already have a low markup on merch and tickets, and so are cutting their profit margin slim as it is. Meet Big Bird, singer in a local metal band, friends with Ernie. He comes to the show with his girlfriend to have a fun night out. It's another holiday club party. They throw amazing parties. I can't help myself. Ernie has a bunch of communion wine trays filled with hundreds of free mini shots of liqueur. The band paid for this. He passes them out while ranting about the Pope. His intent is for everyone to do a nasty, sugary, anti-molestation toast with him. The Tubby Trolls seize a tray by pushing and shoving through the crowd to intercept it, and take as many shot cups as they can. They're pulling cups out, shooting them, then taking more. "Take 1 drink and pass the tray," admonishes Ernie. He's so tall that he can see exactly what's happening over everyone's head, and he's getting irked. The tray, much lighter now, is finally passed along. Bert gets out a bottle of vodka and gives it to the front row to be shared through the crowd. When it gets too close to the trolls, it gets snatched away and disappears into endocrine disorder's coat pocket. "Sharing is caring," Ernie says in English. The trolls clearly do not care to share the free booze. Bert's eyes get squinty. He and Ernie share a look. I think this is when Ernie began to simmer. "Well, it's been fun. I'm excusing my way between very tall people and bouncing up on my toes to see where I'm going, when I smack right into Bert, who is brandishing his cigarettes and doing the same short people rabbit action in the opposite direction. He's all sweetness and light. He's going to play hooky and leave Ernie to wrangle fans. He thinks it's funny. That's the last you'll see of Bert for the night. I get stuck in the merch table line. There's a low wall preventing me from exiting it, which of course I couldn't see till I got there, 'cause short. Can't do a damn thing to get out, so I shuffle along and people watch. The Tubby Trolls have cornered Big Bird at coat check. They're drunk. The copious amounts of free booze they stole from everyone else was enough to baste even the largest Christmas ham. God. Cokebeard is wearing the same dirty clothes, complete with food stains, that he wore the last time I saw him. Big Bird politely signs a thing, but they want a conversation. Big Bird is squirming. His girlfriend pats his back sympathetically and leaves without him. Big Bird is looking around for help, any at all, and me and several other people chuckle at his predicament. Oh, if looks could kill. He shows us all the back of his hand. We laugh. Karma will slap me for this in part 3. I wind up in front of Ernie. He's getting restless and spends a little time roasting the hell out of me about US politics for his own entertainment. There is a complaint that the line is not moving. No points if you guess who. It's Cokebeard and Endocrine Disorder. They're now at the back of the line, and Big Bird is standing outside smoking and looking ruffled. For all their vices, the trolls don't smoke, so I guess it's a good defense. Oh, Cokebeard, I almost made it through a whole show without dealing with you. Thank you for proving that there is indeed a God. And it's a sadist. Where's Bert? Whines Cokebeard, jiggling. What the hold up? Why isn't Bert giving autographs? He implies that Bert is ungrateful to the people who come to his shows. Jesus Fitzgerald Christ, some people won't learn. Bert's gone. Ernie gets a touch of the crazy eyes and digs stuff out of the depths of the merch counter and shoves it at me. He often gives things away on a whim, but endocrine disorder just has to ask if the merch is free tonight. Sure it is. Like all artists, Ernie pays his bills with exposure points. In response, Ernie hands me a CD. Save some for me, endocrine disorder says. Why can't you just be cool, guy? Ernie's eyebrows are getting wiggly, which is not a good sign. Do you smoke? He yanks down a taped-down display pack of souvenir cigarettes off the merch counter so forcefully that the tape stretches and the countertop lifts up. Everyone turns to stare at the ruckus. He rips all the tape off the pack with excessive force and crushes it into a very tiny ball while glaring at endocrine disorder. He slams the pack down in front of me in a righteous display of passive aggression. Cokebeard loudly hopes that the band has finally started printing 6XL shirts. What? Fat people want shirts too? Why are you so shirts for fat guys? He's grown over the last couple of years, apparently. Last time it was 5XL. Ernie asks if I need a lighter and pats himself down for one while snarling about US foreign policy and giving the back of the line the stink eye. Don't give everything away before we get there, Cokebeard yells. Please recall from last time that he brought a bag of stuff to sign. How much crap do you need, dude? He is trying to push his way up front with no success. Remember the wall? Thanks, wall. And everyone glares at him. Seriously, what is with all the frickin' shoving? Ernie tells me to go smoke his delicious cigarettes. He slaps a free CD down in front of the guy who's next in line. Here, take a lapel pin too. Want a shirt? These shows clearly don't end smoothly. I zip out the front door and light up outside where it's peaceful and snowing. Haven't smoked for a year. So good. A minute later, Ernie can be faintly heard announcing that he's done signing autographs. He ran out of free merch before the trolls got to him. What a coincidence! The tubby trolls come oozing out the door with zero free stuff and meekly waddle down the street toward the tram stop. Interesting. I'm enjoying my head rush when Ernie bounds up the front steps. He's dashed all the way through the dance floor, out the back, and around the outside of the club. Fascinating. The trolls squeeze onto the tram. Cokebeard is wider than the front door and are whisked away with a screech and a clang. Ernie is visibly peeved. He plants his feet, folds his arms, and watches them go. I watch them go. Intrigued bystanders watch them go. Big Bird watches them go. No one makes a peep. We all just stand there, riveted, in the snow, musing. And then Big Bird sensibly said his feet were cold and his girlfriend was waiting on him, and we all scattered. You would think the trolls had finally learned a lesson, wouldn't you? But wait, there's more. A great stench looms on the horizon, and Ernie deploys strategery. Wow, yet another good story in the three Tubby Trolls trilogy and Bert and Ernie trilogy. Tubby Trolls. You get what I'm saying. Oh my god. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see part 3 because it is up, because this is these are old posts, so I'll read it if you want. I'm gonna read it anyway. I need something to say. Alright, this story's called The Russian Bear. So this is a story I have touched on elsewhere, but I finally decided to share it here. So in the summer of 2018, I picked up a job at a lawn maintenance company. We laid down fertilizer, sprayed pesticides, and some of us aerated and seeded lawns. Obviously, this was a pretty physical job, and all the guys that worked there were pretty athletic, save for one. There was this guy that worked there who was adopted from Russia when he was like 3. I knew this because he seemed to mention it at least weekly. For the sake of simplicity, he'll be called Sachio. I'll go Sachio. Sachio was a big guy, and he was only 20 as well. I first met him when my new boss took me to give a tour of the shop. Sachio had bought himself a cigar to celebrate them hiring me, and he lit this with a shrink wrap gun. Already, I could tell he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. I passed the pesticide application exams in one go, so I was on the lawns pretty quickly, so I fortunately never worked with him. As the season went on, his laziness began to show. He was hired as the shop mechanic, even though he never worked on any of the machines or vehicles. He would also take an ungodly amount of time off for no reason. But the biggest kicker was the food. Occasionally, our boss would buy us breakfast on days where it was storming in the morning, or if we worked on Saturdays. Normally, people got one of the cheaper options, but Sachio regularly ordered an 8-ounce steak and eggs for breakfast, along with cheese for the eggs and hash browns. He would complain if anyone told him to order less, and we eventually stopped going to breakfast unless he wasn't coming in, although he would still complain. Besides these breakfasts, he would regularly stop for 2 to 4 meals during the day. To be fair, there were days where we worked close to 4 hours, so sometimes stopping for a light meal in the afternoon was necessary. But this was every day. He would clock in and then head out to get a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts to eat, do a house if he wanted to, stop again for lunch, do 2 more houses, and then just leave for the day. If it was a long day, he'd stop for a 3rd or a 4th meal in the afternoon and evening. One thing he apparently liked to order were 2 Baconators, 2 large Frosties, 2 chili bowls, a large chili cheese fry, and a large Dr. Pepper from Wendy's. Despite the fact that he was such a terrible employee, the company decided not to fire him because a little work was apparently better than no work. They put him with a new hire who was a pothead. He made the pothead do all the work while he drove around. Eventually, the pothead began making Sachio work, even though Sachio complained to him about getting lonely when seeding lawns and would try to find any excuse to get out of work. Things came to a head at the company meeting, where he ordered an appetizer for himself along with about $35 worth of alcoholic beverages on top of a $45 plate. This irked the head investor of the company, and Sachio was in hot water soon afterward. After 2 weeks, he was asked to show up to the office or else he would be fired. He chose not to show up and was fired. He said the company was being unfair to him, even though our head salesman spoke to his mom, who said that this was nothing new with him and that he always had trouble holding down a job because of similar issues. He left to work at a buddy's billboard installation company, which lasted less than a week. He then began texting people at our company asking for his job back. The head investor made the decision to hire him back, although he lasted 5 days before he quit. He was complaining about the AC in his van, which was my van, not working. The boss told him to deal with it like I had been, and he quit right in the middle of the day. The last I heard, he was still begging the company for his job back while simultaneously saying he has a better job. He is a bartender and regularly invites the pothead to watch him eat hot dogs. The pothead is also his weed dealer, and he told me that he regularly pays more than asked for weed. Okay, I'm not gonna excuse all of this guy's actions, but the whole thing about the AC in the van not working, bro, these guys do physical labor for a living. They need an air-conditioned van. That's poor working conditions or something like that. I don't think he did anything wrong at that part, but everything else. Goodness gracious, man. This story's called Mini Ham at My Office Doesn't Understand Little Pieces of Cake Still Have Calories. Sorry for the awkward title, but I wasn't sure how to phrase it. So a bit about me. I was always athletic. My dad was a pro tennis player, and I played competitively from a young age. Also, table tennis, martial arts, swimming, weightlifting, etc. When I graduated from my university, I was in fantastic shape, and my lean body mass was about 225 pounds. I weighed in at about 245 pounds at 6'2". Damn. I then was diagnosed with cancer, and the resultant surgeries were tough. Long story short, due to poor personal choices, depression, and lack of mobility, I ballooned up to over 360. I am now healthy and working part-time in an office where this story takes place. So, being healthy again, I am losing weight through a combination of the ketogenic diet, strict adherence to Psycho, I don't freaking know, and working out 6 days a week. I started in late November and am now down to about 312. Cue some positive comments and explaining what I'm doing. Good job, though. Enter the mini ham. Let's call her Dory. Dory May is a nice enough lady who is apple-shaped and weighs in, I would guess, at about 200 at 5'6".
You're so lucky, baby. I diet so much more strictly than you and I never lose weight.
Well, if you like, we can help each other be accountable and email each other recipes and such.
No, I already eat more strictly than you. There's nothing I need help with. I'm just unlucky genetically.
Some polite back and forth here. I won't go into too much, but we agreed to email each other our food log each day so we could assess it and get better. Within the first week, I notice a problem. People bring in treats all the time. Cake, brownies, etc., and Dory always indulges a little bit.
Oh, I'm so bad, but a little piece won't hurt.
And none of these little snacks are listed on her daily food log. So I send her an email basically saying, Dory, you're hitting your caloric goal for the day in your meals, but then you're using up the rest of the calories and then some with the brownies and cake. Even if they're small, they matter. Her response was that she only did it one day and it wasn't a big piece and that she would be more careful. The next week, I kept track during the week since my work area is near the break room and I can see the treats while I work. That week, she had 12 little pieces of cake, 4 tiny helpings of chips, 3 chocolate bars,
It's my cheat day.
and ice cream the day it was brought in. It was literally her entire week's worth of calories just in her snacks. The food log comes in and she listed it as 1 piece of cake and nothing else. I sent her an email. Dory, this is what I witnessed. It amounted to roughly this many calories. You didn't list it on your log. So either you're not being honest with me or you're not being honest with yourself. Either way, I think in these 2 weeks we've proven it's not genetics. She stormed over to me after the email and went up one side and down the other, saying I was fat shaming her and it's easier for me because I'm a guy and I don't get cravings like women do. And the only reason I was losing weight was because my dad was skinny. She finished by saying I was a nicer person when I had cancer, so HR is involved. But yeah, lesson learned. Don't assume people are operating in good faith, I guess. Yikes. That's... I swear, people, man, people. Oh, OP, good job on beating cancer, you strong son of a person. It was beautiful. I'm not gonna insult your mother.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.